Good morning, everyone. It is January 30th, 2024. It's 9 a.m. Here we are on Facebook or YouTube or our website at unitytucson.com. And we've joined together for this mindful moment, which is an opportunity I take every single weekday at 9 a.m. to engage in some spiritual practice. I'm Dr. Jonathan Zenz. I'm the spiritual leader at Unity of Tucson, and I'm so grateful that you've decided to share a few moments with me this morning. Um, yes, the mindful moment, I do this every single weekday because it is an invitation for me to be consistent in my spiritual practice. And by affirming that I will go live on video every single weekday means that I also have a strategy for accountability in my spiritual practice. So that's what we're here to do. Whether you're watching live or on the replay, I would love for you to post a comment and let me know that you are here. I see a comment has come through. 2 comments have come through. Let me go. Let me turn this one off. I will go here and let's see. And the 3rd comment. So first, there's Sherry with a nice smiley face. Hi, Sherry. Grateful to see you. William, the glorious days continue in Tucson. Yes. Good morning to you as well. Grateful to see you. Beth, good morning to you. Grateful to see you this glorious day. Good morning, Peacemakers. Season for Nonviolence, day 1. That is today. Yes, today begins the season for nonviolence. Beryl, good morning and big love right back to you. I do, of course, want to offer this reminder. Are you ready? All right, just take a breath and really allow yourself to hear this. Just taking this in, and pretend as though you're hearing it for the first time. You are love. You are light. You are life. You are magnificent. And I am so grateful that you shine your light and share your magnificence. Thank you for doing that. So today, I want to talk about our magnificence and the way we approach life with a greater understanding of our own personal magnificence. But what I really want to do is focus on the idea that every person we encounter is magnificent. Everyone, no exceptions. Really hear that. Everyone, no exceptions. Now, the reason that I bring that up is because I think sometimes we allow ourselves to be challenged by people's behaviors. And when we're challenged by people's behaviors, we end up making decisions about them that may or may not be in alignment with the truth of their being. So, one of the practices that I have is to work diligently in my own mind to remember that behavior is not identity. And I can understand the truth of somebody's identity, even if they're behaving in a way that is contrary to that identity. So, we see it. We see people doing things and expressing in ways that are challenging. In fact, I experienced something recently that was a challenge to that even construct within myself. To say, I recognize the truth about this person. Their identity is, is divine, and I'm going to hold firm in that faith. And yet, their behavior towards me and something explicitly directed towards me was challenging for me. And to give you context, it was somebody who made a comment towards me that they didn't like that I mention my husband, that I have a husband in on Sundays. If I'm giving a talk, sometimes I mention my husband, and somebody did not like that. And what is clear to me is that there's an implicit bias that is expressing itself by means of this person, and I'm not going to hold them at fault for that. One of the things that I will do, though, is I'm going to invite them to rethink that, because that bias may or may not be working for them. One of the things that I'm always really interested in is really looking at how are my biases playing out? How are my biases playing out? Because, yeah, I've got them. We all have them. And part of the power of the New Thought philosophy for me is bringing to awareness those things and that are not working for us or not supportive of the understanding that we are all God. And so biases play out within that. Um, in awareness, by raising to the level of awareness, are those things which are implicit, those biases which are implicit, we actually then get to challenge them. We get to do something about them. We get to step forward into a different way of being. So, and I think that, on this first day of the season for nonviolence, actually being willing to look at our biases and to be willing to go on the exploration of what biases do we still carry is an important part of the spiritual journey. At least it is for me. And so, I think about this experience that I had recently, and I'm like, my response in the moment was actually reactionary. I was like, oh, it so took me out of the moment because, on a Sunday and in this community, there's a part of me that has moved past the idea that anyone would still have a bias towards me being, a gay man, and so it was a challenge in that moment. And my response ultimately was basically to say, if I were to mention a wife, if I were a cisgendered heterosexual man and I mentioned my wife, would you ever give it a second thought? And this person said, well, no. I said, okay, so then why is it any different? And then these are the words that came out of their mouth, and it's like, oh, it always gets me. See, I have my own response, right? Get my hackles up a little bit. But these are the words that came out of their mouth. Well, I'm not homophobic, but, and I stopped them immediately and I said, I just want to point out the moment you say but, you are now negating anything that has preceded what you've just said. And so that's something that I think is worthy of taking a look at. It's worthy of taking a look at. So how do we address biases as a spiritual practice? Well, I think first of all, these are I'm going to give you a couple steps in terms of how you may start to look at what are my own biases. Are you willing to look at them? Are you willing to raise them to the level of awareness? Because I think it's an important thing that we can do, and it invites us into compassion and love for every single person we encounter, irrespective of their behavior. And I also don't equate my being gay with behavior. Also, it's an identity that I have. So there's that. So here's some things to think about in terms of how to begin to raise to the level of awareness what biases we may have. First of all, acknowledge that the possibility for implicit bias exists within us. I'm willing to admit I have biases, and I have implicit bias, that is bias that I am not aware of, and it plays itself out in my interactions. I'm willing to admit that, and I'm willing to be able to step back and say, I have an opportunity to look at this. We are given dominion over our life, over our expression, over our thoughts, over our beliefs, and over our feelings. And the question that I sometimes ask to really look at, is this something that is rooted in bias, is this supportive of my understanding of this individual as whole, complete, a full expression of God, irrespective of the way that they are demonstrating, behaving, any of that? Because identity doesn't always align with expression. I really want to hear that. Identity does not always align with expression. And so our expression may be a particular outflow. The identity is that which is within. And so I hold firm in this faith. Everyone, their core identity is divine, even if their expression does not align with that. So one, acknowledge that the potential exists. Another thing to do is to study stereotypes. Like, do we have, and part of the way that bias shows up is we have a stereotype in mind about the way a particularized group of people should express, or that we think they would express. And as we learn about stereotypes, we can also then break down the stereotypes around people, because while I would say, yeah, there are actual stereotypes that I do fit within in terms of when somebody thinks about a gay person, like I probably fit within the stereotype in some ways I don't. But stereotypes are not necessarily always the truth of people, although they exist for a reason because there's a generalization there. But every single person is an individualization, not a generalization of God. I want you to hear that. Every single person is an individualization, not a generalization of God. And so be willing to learn about those stereotypes. How do we generalize? And how does that then create an experience of interaction with that person? Because that experience may be rooted in implicit bias. Also be willing to broaden your focus, to expose yourself to different ways of being, different circumstances, different experiences. Be willing to butt up against your comfort zone. And that for me is really one of the most important things. Butt up against your comfort zone and perhaps break through that comfort zone. So that's the message today. Um, and and I'm, I think some people would probably look at this and go, well, how is that spiritual? Well, everything is spiritual. And if we have a willingness to look at our lives through the lens of spirit and understand the truth of our being, and that is the case for every single other person that we encounter, that we actually are working in the direction of eliminating bias. We're working in the direction of eliminating isms and phobias and manias and all of that. So that's the message today. I'm choosing to let go of bias. And so that's what I'm going to pray on. So if it is safe and comfortable for you to close your eyes and join me in this, it is not a requirement to close your eyes. You get to determine how you experience this time of prayer. I'm going to relax in this moment and settle in, heart and mind, turning my focus to the inner life, knowing that the inner life is the point of view from which all exterior expression flows forth. And so, all is well. All is perfection. All is grace. All is ease. Relaxed in this moment, I hold firm in this state of mind as a space of faith that there is only one infinite creative source. There is one power. There is God and nothing else. There is God and nothing else. This infinite creative source is flowing forth as all creation, as all that is. And so I deepen in that understanding that if God is all there is, then we are that. There is no aspect of our being which is not wholly divine. There is no aspect of us that is not wholly God. We are that. We are the light. We are the life. We are the love. We are the magnificence of life's expression. And there can be no separation. They are inseparable. So, trusting this, I choose in every moment to look upon every single person in my view as an expression of this wholeness. And I actively work in the direction of not defining anyone rooted in their behavior, but understanding the deeper definition, the deeper understanding of their identity is divine. And while I may encourage the activity and the expression to be in alignment with that great identity, I choose not to align with activities that are destructive. I choose the constructive. I choose the outflow of love. I choose kindness at all times. I choose this. And I'm in a constant state of choice to uncover that which is hidden within me. And I open up to a greater awareness in every moment, to those places within me which are biased. And in uncovering and becoming aware of those things, I am empowered to change them. And so I stand firm, whole, and resolved in this power. And it is with gratitude and appreciation overflowing that I simply let it be. I relax. I release, I trust, I know, and affirm this all as so by saying, and so it is. Amen. And so it is. Always a delight to share this time with you, and I'm grateful for this opportunity to have this open dialogue, open discussion, open opportunity. And if anything comes up for you, you can always reach out to me. You can always send me an email at revjonathan@unitytucson.com. And yes, it sometimes takes me a full day to respond to all the emails that come through. But if an email warrants a response, I promise you will get a response. So yeah, check that out. You can also see what's happening here at Unity by going to our website, unitytucson.com. Um, of course, as I've been saying last week, and here's some things that are coming up. Of course, we have our healing circle tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, beginning at 6 p.m. in Harmony Hall here. The healing circle is an opportunity to come together and address in mind, in consciousness, in heart, that which needs healing in our lives. And so would love to see you there as the prayer chaplains of this community hold you in the hands of grace in whatever it is you're looking to have healed. So join us for that. You can also join us on Saturday. Join Sherry Hoffman for Dance Zen, which is a free-form dance experience, an opportunity to let your wild side out, just move. You don't need to know anything about movement. You don't need to be a dancer. You just come and allow the music to fill you and move you, and I'd love to see you there. So check that out for sure. So that's it. See a couple comments coming through. Mirta, thank you. Thank you very much. Doris, thank you. Grateful for your gratitude. So yeah, that's it. I will see you tomorrow. I'll be back here 9 a.m. for the mindful moment on a Wednesday morning, the last Wednesday of January 2024 tomorrow. Ah. Anyway, peace and blessings to you. I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.